Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be exploring part 2 of our series on SAP ABAP Objects for Java developers. And again, this is for Java developers or anyone that's familiar with object-oriented programming. We're just going to help you understand how ABAP does it versus how a language like C#, C++, or Java would do it. I'm most familiar with Java. I do a lot of Java programming in my free time, and I maintain several open source Java libraries, so that's what I chose. So we're going to start by creating just a basic ABAP report. And in Java, we're going to create a class. Last episode, I showed you guys how to create instance methods. So, non-static methods. So something like public void, I'll just say speak. And then, something like this, where you physically have to have a dog object. So in Java, you would have to say dog Fido equals new dog before you could say Fido.speak. So that is an action that is relevant to an instance of an object. Sometimes we don't need an instance of an object. So let's say in Java, we want a method, or let's do public static void print, something that doesn't relate to one particular object. So print dog types. And we could say big dog, small dog, medium dog. So this might be something where we don't need Fido. Sorry guys, bye Fido. We just want to know what types of dog there are. So we can say dog.printDogTypes. So now we're calling a static method. Let's go ahead and run it. It'll run the code in our dog.java class. We'll get an output, big dog, small dog, medium dog. Whereas in order for a dog to go woof, we need an actual instance of the dog class. So we need an object. So dog spot equals new dog, and then spot.speak. So we have to have a dog object in order to speak. We don't need to have necessarily a dog object in order to print all the types of dogs. So that's how an instance versus a static method works. For an instance method, you need an instance of this class as an object. For a static method, you don't. So let's go ahead and implement this exact same code in ABAP. Let's create a class, local class dog, definition. Now over here we have an instance method, public void speak. So that's a method that does not return any value. So we'll just go ahead and in our public section, say methods speak. Now also we have in our public section in Java, public static void. So in order to do, this is really simple guys. In ABAP, they're not necessarily called static methods, though you will hear ABAP developers refer to them as static methods. But as far as the actual syntax goes, it's class methods. So let's say print _dog _types to just kind of keep a little bit more with the ABAP naming convention there. And then class LCL dog, let's give it an implementation. And then we'll say method speak. Let's just say write, what do I say, woof. End method. And then let's say method print _dog _types. In our method, go ahead and end class while we're at it. And then we'll say over here, write, what do we say, big dog, small dog, medium dog. So go ahead and save our program in ABAP. We'll check that the syntax is correct. No syntax errors occurred. And then our actual driver program in Java, we have a separate, because everything has to be in a class in Java. It's a completely object-oriented language. ABAP, we can do procedural stuff over here. So what did we say in Java? We said dog.printDogTypes. We call the static method, aka the class method in ABAP, which is this method. Then we created an instance of the dog class, gave it a name, Spot, common dog name, and we told Spot to speak. And so Spot says woof. So if we run this in Java, we should get big dog, small dog, medium dog, and then Spot.speak prints woof to the screen. So let's do the same thing in ABAP. Since we're going to go ahead and just do some procedural programming here, guys. We're going to say initialization. So this block is going to be called after our class is defined. This isn't completely object oriented, but for the sake of this video, think of this initialization block as the main method of our program class in Java. So we're going to say data. Well, actually, since we don't have a dog object yet, let's just demonstrate that we can call a static class method print dog types. So let's say LCL underscore dog, and then to call a static method, you do the equals greater than sign, and then the name of the method, followed by open and close parentheses. So if we check this, activate it, and then run it, we should get our static method call, same as in Java. We'll get the output from that. We're getting right to the screen, big dog, small dog, medium dog, our static method. But we can't just come down here and say LCL dog, and then to call an instance method, as you saw in my last video, you do dash greater than, and if I do control plus, there's no help here. I can't get that method to show. But let's just, for the sake of this video, do speak. And if we do check, we're going to get an error. Field LCL dog is unknown. So this is a class. This isn't an object. So we're trying to access a property of an object, a method of an object. So that's why we're getting this issue here. So in order to access an instance method, as we saw in the last video, we need to define a local object. Let's just call this one Spot. That's what we called it in Java here. Dog Spot equals new dog. LO Spot, and it's a type that refers to LCL dog class. Now we're able to come down here and say local object Spot, call the instance method with the dash greater than operator here, and we'll see that from this object we still can call static methods. We can call print dog types. It's going to be recommended to us. We can check it, and there's no issue there. It's bad practice. You should use the equals greater than on the actual class name to call this, but it can be called this way. You won't see that very much among experienced ABAP developers. They tend to prefer to do it this way. So now we can call the speak method, which is the instance method. See, method speak, and then class method, static method, print dog types. So same thing as we have over here in Java. An instance method, we need an object. A static method, we don't. It's applicable to any object. It's applicable to the class. So now if I check it, execute it, and run it. Oh, I forgot one key thing here, guys. So let's go back into SE38. I was trying not to make any mistakes this entire video, but let's just show you one thing different than Java. Well, not quite so different. So LO Spot type ref to LCL dog. This is essentially the same thing as saying in Java dog Spot. Well, let's not call it Spot. We've already defined Spot. Let's do Spot 2. So this just says Spot 2 is of the class dog. That's essentially what I've done here. I've said LO Spot refers to the dog class. Now if I try and access Spot 2 here and say speak, I'm going to get an error over here in IntelliJ. What are we going to see? Variable Spot 2 may not have been initialized. IntelliJ will give you that. ABAP won't. So what they're saying is we referred to a variable that's not yet initialized. So in ABAP we have to do the same thing. We can't just refer to that uninitialized variable. We have to create an object. So the syntax in ABAP is create object LO underscore spot. And now if we check this, activate it, and execute it again, we won't get that short dump that we just saw. So exact same output as Java, except for capitalization, which I did differently here. Big dog, small dog, medium dog, and woof. So that is how instance and static methods work in ABAP. In the last video, we only explored how to define in the public, protected, or private section instance methods. And in this video, we showed you how to define static methods. And these can be defined, publicly or in the protected section or wherever you need it to be. And then I also wanted to show you, since in the last video in our public or private section, we defined data and say, reference something. We define data here. Now in ABAP, we can define static data as well. So maybe over here in Java, we don't have this. Maybe it's in a static variable, private, static, it's final because it's not going to be changed. String, dog types. So we see here, go ahead and get that out, we don't need that. That we can say then from the static method, print dog types. And if we run it, our exact same output from this program is going to be the same. All we're doing is we're saying that we're going to use a class data, a class variable, a static variable, dog types. The same thing can be done over here in ABAP. We can say, instead of class methods or data, we're going to say class data. And then we'll say string types, type string. So, we could even come in here and say the value is, and then what I said, big dog, small dog, medium dog. So this is the same thing as declaring this in Java. So now when we go to print dog types in our implementation, we can just say write s_types, check it, activate it, run it, and we get the same output as before. So that should give you Java developers or you object-oriented programming developers a good feel for how ABAP does things. It's the exact same as Java, just a little different syntax. So for your static, members, you're going to have class data, class methods. For your instance, you're going to have methods or just data, not class data. And that's how that's going to work in ABAP. So we'll explore a little bit more object-oriented programming in ABAP in the next videos. I'm not sure exactly how long this particular series is going to be, but I intend to get you guys, if you're already an object-oriented programming developer, to get you guys up to speed on how everything is handled in ABAP. And by the end of the series, you should feel very comfortable writing object-oriented ABAP programs. So thank you all for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment in the comments section. My email is, if you go sniffing around for it somewhere on this YouTube channel, it's either in I try to keep it in the video description. If not, it'll be in the channel description. You can shoot me an email, or if you want to leave a comment, I'll get back to those too. I do read all comments. But thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.